Hey guys, Wedge here, bringing you another Microsoft Flight Simulator video. Today we'll be doing a tutorial on how to start the Airbus A320neo with the Flybywire mod. So without further ado, let us get into the cockpit and begin. Now, first of all, in order to start the aircraft, simple, turn on these two switches here, which are the batteries. You hear all the sounds, etc. Beep, beep, beep. Don't worry. Battery 1 and 2 on. Next, you are going to come down to the master APU, which is APU just here. Click start APU. Start master switch, and then you click the start button below. Then you're going to want to let the APU do its thing. Turn on. Bada bing, bada boom. These two little knobs are to turn up all the brightness. Up here, brightness for the screens, the brightness for the instruments. You can see the lights coming on just there, and then the eCam display brightness, which are these two screens here, this one and that one. And what else do we have? The plus here is to turn up the brightness for the ISI, whatever that is. It's just where the altimeter thing is, and the MCDU. Now all of that is switched on. The APU should be on any second now. So we'll just, oh, there we go. Then, once you hear that sound, you know your APU is on. You can click this button here where it says APU bleed. You want to turn that on. That gets the air flowing through the aircraft and delivers power, etc., etc. Might be wrong, but that means you've got power to the aircraft, so go along. Okay, from there, you're going to come up to here to ADRIS and click this one to nav, wait for on bat to go, and it is now. Then you're going to want to come out to IRS2, do the same thing, wait for on bat to go, and then 3. It goes 1, 2, then 3. Just like that. Don't need to touch the flight control, nothing for evac, nothing for that, nothing for GWPS. Want to turn on your crew oxygen supply. See, normally you'd test your engines, but this is just how to turn on the aircraft and how to set up the flight plan and the MCDU and how to land with ILS and how to use Autopilot. That's that. You want to turn on your fuel pumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your fuel pumps are on. Ignore the faults. That's normal. The engines aren't on, so obviously you can't get anything. That's all good. You don't need anti-ice. Your beacon must turn on. Flip this switch here. Is for the lighting up ahead. Seatbelt signs on. No smoking signs on. The emergency exits, and you don't need to do anything over here. When you come down here, what do we have to do? You want to flick this switch here. This is for your windshield protection, I think. Yeah, it's just to get rid of that warning there. Lock the cabin door. It's not necessary, but it's just something you do. And when you get your squawk code, so when you use ATC, you want to flick this to on, and then this to TA, and then you won't have a warning that says standby TCAS. Not a warning, but you just won't have that thing sitting there. That's pretty much everything aircraft related. It's now more MCDU based. So yeah, we'll start with the MCDU now. Alrighty, now when the MCDU turns on and when you're starting to program it, the first thing that will come up will be the MCDU menu. So you want to go to, is it initiate, INIT, this one just here. And you're going to want to put in your flight plan. So basically, what airport you're flying from and what airport you're flying to. So in this instance, I'm flying from Melbourne to Melbourne. So I'm leaving Melbourne, doing a turn, coming back into Melbourne. So for you, it might be you're flying out of Atlanta going to New York. So you'd put the ICAO, which for Melbourne it's YMML, and the ICAO that you're landing at, which is the same for me, YMML. Click that little button there, click return, Bada bing, it's got it in there. From YMML to YMML. Then you want to come down here to IRS initiate, click that, align on ref, confirm alignment. That's all done. Return. Your cruising altitude, today for me it's just 5,000 feet. Yep. So you just put yours in, so if it's flight level 360, just put 360, 420, 420, etc, etc. We'll come back to the cost index in a minute and alternate route or co-route. You want to click the arrow button to go to the next page and your block fuel. So this is your fuel where it says block. So to put that number in, you want to come up here where it says fuel on board 9,440 kilograms. So you just put 9.4 or round it up. So if it's 9,490, so if it's 9,490, you want to put 9.5. Just round it up to the closest. So for me, 9.4. Put it in. Now your block fuel's in. Now you just want to click this dash at the top. Your numbers are popped up for your 0 fuel weight. Pop that in just there, and all that's in now. So that is all that. For now, we'll need to load SimBrief, which is how you'd get your flight plan, how you'd get your cost index. So let us load that, and let me show you how to use SimBrief. Alrighty. So once you have loaded SimBrief, which you will need an account to make, you need to have an account to use this. I'll leave a link in the description for this, for SimBrief. You want to come to the new flight, and then you'll be asked for flight info. So you can put your airline in, let's say Qantas 8723. I'm really flying a Jetstar, but it doesn't really matter. You want to put your departing airport, for me, YMML, where you're going to arrive, and then where it says alternate, it will pick the closest airport in case you need to divert or something happen. Who knows? The date doesn't matter. Departure doesn't matter. Aircraft, you want to come on down, find A320neo, that works perfectly. Leave climb profile, all this, that's fine. It's easier just to change that to pounds, LBS, that's fine. And this is information that you're going to have to write down. So I'll be departing runway 34 and arriving runway 9. So that's something I need to know. Departing 34, arriving runway 9. Taxi doesn't matter. You can change your passengers because it will give you a different weight. But for me, we're just going to leave that auto. Altitude 5,000. Oh, you know what? Don't worry. We'll just leave that auto. I leave it auto and it still works fine. Okay, that's fine. So you don't really need to touch any of this. When you scroll down even more, you'll have this screen where it says route. This is your flight plan. These are the waypoints that you put in. These are the departure that you take from it, etc, etc. So you get the map here. So this is YMML. We'll depart runway 34. Come back up. Down, 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 and land again. So pretty much, this is what you need to be able to make the flight plan. This is pretty important. So keep this on open on another window. Write it down somewhere, because you'll need that. Right, once you've put all your information in, you want to click Generate OFP. Click Yes. Scroll on down. Wait for a second. Right, and it'll give you a pretty detailed report. You get all your information that you got on the first page. Yeah, so flight plan, etc, etc. Now, this is pretty important. This is some information that you don't really have to put in, but you do. So, remember before it said cost index, CI. So now, when we go back to Microsoft Flight Simulator, we know that our cost index was 60. So we can just type in 60. Like that, and that's our cost index. And our alternate route is YMAV. So we can put YMAV B, put that into alternate route. That page is all done. Alrighty, so once you have put in all your details here, like your cost index, etc., etc., you want to come down to the flight plan, which is F-PLN, that's your flight plan, and then you'll be shown this. So, top one's your departing runway, your bottom one's your arriving runway. So, to start programming, you'll just load up your a flight plan, which is this. Now, I've just made a few changes just because it wasn't working before, so you might have to play around with it to get it right, because sometimes the flight plan will be really, really horrible, and it won't look like what SimBrief shows you, but just got to play around with it, and usually it works fine. So, what you want to do, you want to click your departing runway, departure, and then click the runway that you're departing from. So I'm departing from one runway. Where am I departing? Whoops. Departing. Oops, sorry, I just gotta double check that I'm doing the right one. Alrighty, yeah, just had to double check. So I am departing runway 16. You'll be able to find that information on SimBrief when you put in your flight plan. It automatically assigns the active runway. So for me, it's 16. Then usually you get an option to click a SID. If your flight plan gives you one, you'll click it. Usually it's the way to read it is it's the first one, and it usually has a number next to it. Or you can just cross-check. Oops, that's Yara. So you just need to cross-check it. So for me, let me see if Yara's there. There isn't, so you just click none and just click insert, and you'll fly out runway heading. Nothing will come up there yet because we haven't put any waypoints. Then you want to put in your first waypoint. For me, it's Yara, Y-A-R-R-A, and then you just click the arriving airport because it will go from the furthest way, or the newest waypoint to the furthest. So you want that to be before your arriving airport, otherwise you'll just screw everything up. And then you just continue. So for me, Yara, you can see that we're going down to Yara. Then records, which I can't really say. You can't really pronounce half these. R-C-O-R-R-D-S. The arriving airport again. Okay, it's not in database, just ignore that. My next one, Boise. B-O-Y-S-E. Click the arriving airport. Bada bing, just like that. Vales. Where V-A-L-E-S. Oops, I didn't put that in. V-A-L-E-S. Click the arriving airport. Insert. And there you go, you can see that it's put in on the map. Boise to Vales, and now we just need to do our approach. And same with arriving, it's usually the first one. So for your approach, it's usually the last one. So I just want to double check when I do my approach to see if Delta waypoint is there. For the way to check, scroll all the way down, just enter flight plan, find your arriving airport, click it, click arrival. We'll be landing runway ILS 16. And scroll down to see if we can find Baltar, which we can't. So we just end up clicking, where is it? No star, insert. And if we look there, oh, see, it added Baltar. Sometimes it adds it, sometimes it really depends on the approach that you're taking in. So that's our flight plan, all done. We'll come out south, left-hand turn, left, decelerate, go down to Baltar, and start our approach. Now it's pretty much all done. You want to go to your preference, or performance, sorry. You'll see the orange box that says V1, VR, V2. Just click them. Double click it. It has all the information already. Flaps. I'm gonna go flaps 2 just because right now flaps 1 doesn't speed doesn't increase. You can put flex to temp. Usually I just go for a standard 45. Transition altitude, it's up to you. Depends what company you're flying with. We don't need to change it today because our max flight is 5,000. Alrighty, so now it's just set up the autopilot here and start our engines. So we will do that very shortly. Alright, it's time to set up the autopilot. So, first things first, we need our altimeter. So, go to the ATC menu, ATIS, it will give the information. Might be pretty high today. Just gotta wait, near the end. Come on. Altimeter, there we go, 29097. There we go, set that one there, and you set it in here too, 907. Click FD, which is your flight director. Leave it on ARC, that's the normal map. Your speed, click it until it says engage selected airspeed mode, which is go towards the bottom of it and click it. And then just keep turning that puppy till you're happy with the speed. Usually aim for 200 and then increase to 250, which is what I normally do. 200 heading, you don't need that. Your altitude, we're only going 5,000. That's what you need. If you're flying VNAV, you leave the dots on, I'm pretty sure. But I just fly with manual autopilot, if that's a word. So to turn the dots on, that's how I'm referring to them, the dots. You click the top of the button, which is engage managed altitude, but we will be doing engage selected altitude. So click the bottom, the dot will go, and that will give you full control of it. So I'm going 5,000, you might go 10,000, depends what your altitude is and what ATC gives you. That's the top, that's everything up there. Now it's time to turn on the engines, which, pretty simple. Turn this to ignition start, then flick to engine 1 on. This screen will go over to engine 1 and we'll do its thing. In the meantime, we'll start our pushback. If it gives it to us. Ground services. Get our pushback. Turn your parking brake off.
Melbourne Ground United 387 requesting pushback.
United 387 pushback.
That's just your nose wheel steering. Don't worry. It's nothing much. Just to let you know, you don't have control of it because they're pushing you back now. In the meantime, while we're waiting for engine 1 to start, nav and logo, wing, taxi, and that's your lights for the moment. Wait for your engines to be fully ready. It will tell you when it's ready. It'll say available. Available. Go ahead and start engine number 2, which we are doing right now. Let engine 2 start up. We're pushing back, we sure are. I'll just push back straight out. Engine 1 starting, engine 2 starting up nicely. Come on, takes a while. We should stop our pushback before we go into the grass. Oh, I pushed back too early. Engine 2 is ready. You can turn engine ignition back to normal mode. Then you want to turn off your APU. So APU bleed comes off. And just click master switch, just turn that off. The available button will go away. No stress there. Put your park and brake on. You want to set your flaps to what you've put in the computer. I'm going flaps 2. And then let's taxi to our runway and then depart and come back in and learn how to use the ILS system. Alrighty, so once you are lined up with the runway, you want to do a few little things. When you get close to the runway, you'll get a few options. So you'll get this little checklist. So, auto brake, you want to click that to max. Cabin, you click all up here. Spoilers, you want to arm, pull them up. And takeoff config, you want to test. It's this little button here, takeoff config. You want to make sure your flaps are in position, otherwise you'll just hear warnings galore. Right, now you are ready to depart. So, line up on the runway. Whilst you do that, turn on takeoff lights, turn on landing lights, turn off the beacon, turn on your strobe, and you're ready to go. Now you're just going to have to ignore the airplanes that I'm flying into currently. Yeah, just ignore them. So yeah, like any normal takeoff, just want to go toga. Just, yeah, take off. And then I'll show you how to activate the autopilot, etc, etc. We can rotate now. Righty, then you'll bring in your landing gear. And we're going to try to maintain 200 knots. That's what we're going to try to maintain today. And 5,000. Alright, so now, all you have to do, very simple, click autopilot. That's it. The aircraft is now flying. Also, you just want to add vertical speed. I probably should have said that. So add your vertical speed by pressing down, engage vertical speed, and then just turn it. Plus means you're climbing, negative means you're descending. And then you can see we're climbing 230, we're climbing 230. Now we're going to bring up all of our flaps in. And when your aircraft starts flashing like that, lever climb. You want to reduce your thrust to lever climb till that stops flashing. Stop flashing. Like that. There you go. And now your autopilot's taken over. That's all you have to do. Then your aircraft will follow your flight plan. And just like that, you don't have to do anything except manage the vertical speed knob. Which we're just about to be fine. So yeah. That's all you got to do. Well, we will be back once we have to initiate our approach, and I'll show you how to do that. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, it should be easy for you to understand. But yeah, usually once you pass 10,000 feet, all you got to do, disengage the speed brakes. It's going to lag because we're loading in the city. Turn off your landing lights, turn off your takeoff lights, and that's it. That is your flight until you start your descent, which we'll start everything now. I will start once we get into our approach. Alrighty, so once you are about to start your approach, so once you've made your left-hand turn and you are aligned with the runway, or you've hit your last waypoint and you're close to the airport, you're going to want to hit this little button here, ILS. This will engage the little pads here. You've got the diamond, you got the localizer on the right, so that's your glide slope and that's your, I don't know, pathing. Now it will tell you the distance to the runway, so I'm 15 miles away from the runway. It'll tell you what runway you're landing at. So normally about 20 nautical miles is when it's in range, so you can turn it on a bit earlier. But yeah, once that's hit, we can now see that the diamond's about to hit. Once the diamond's in line with this little yellow line, you're going to want to hit the approach button, which is just under the vertical speed. So, any second now, I'm going to hit this. I'll hit it now. Now you see a lot of things happening. We started our turn because we've captured the glide slope, meaning we've intercepted the radio and the localizer. It knows where we are. It's telling the plane to descend and to straighten up and line up with the runway. As you can see, there's the runway. We'll line up any second from now. So you don't need to do anything. You don't need to descend. The plane will do it itself, and it will do it totally legit. So that's how to use the ILS. Now you've just got to lower your speed. So all the speeds are there for your flaps. So we're going to extend to flaps 2 because remember flaps 1 is broken. Extend the spoilers to kill some speed because we don't want to be too fast. I'm going to extend flaps 1 now. Might get an overspeed warning, but deal with it. Nope, just missed it. And when we get down to 190, ooh, big speed drop. See, flaps 1's terribly broken. Bring in the speed brake. Now, to get ready for a landing, pretty simple. It's the exact same as what you did when you took off. So we're going to keep extending our flaps. So, arm the speed brake, and you can either do low or medium. Auto brake, normally do low just so you don't get hot brakes. Keep dropping our speed. 152's well, that's alright. Your landing lights, you should be turning them on at 10,000 feet, not what I'm doing now. This is just because it's just a quick little demonstration on how to do it. And same again, let the cabin crew know by clicking the all button. And that's it. Signs, what do you mean? Oh, passenger seatbelt signs. Again, that should be on at 10,000 feet. I just don't have it on. And then the final thing is the landing gear, which we will do now. If you hear that, just ignore it. It's nothing. It's just the localizer. I'm pretty sure. I know. You don't need to worry about that. Just if you hear that, it's not any alarm. Plane's not going to crash. Nothing's going on. It's standard. It will happen with any ILS system, almost ILS system. So normally, when you get to 1,000 feet, you will go manual. So you'll get off autopilot because you're lined up. So I'm going to turn off the auto throttle so I can manage that. You don't want to go idle now because you'll just sink, and then yeah, you've got to keep it pretty steady because you don't want to float as well. It's not good because you'll just go idle. Alright, autopilot's coming off. All you need to do now is just land the plane. So that's pretty much the tutorial. So if you did enjoy that video, consider subscribing. If you want to see more things like this, let me know down in the comments. And if you want, just ask me. If you're confused about stuff, just ask me down in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer your questions. But yeah guys, other than that, I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video. Stay safe and have a good one. Till next time, cheers. See yous.